Hi, I'm Toni Quest. I'm pleased to present today another Women in the Arts and Humanities Network Zoom panel. This is like a real little party. This week it will be about jazz musicians, women in smooth jazz. It's a panel of wonderful women musicians and vocalists and songwriters. And my co-host for this one would be the jazz saxophonist, renowned jazz saxophonist, Paula Atherton. Let's listen in. Meeting has started. Relevant as artists during this time, and I found that the way people are going about this, the way different artists are going about this is very, very unique, and it speaks a lot to, in my opinion, from what I've observed, to the fact that we're artists. But Paula, I chose her because she has such a sensational background. She's a sax flute player. She's a vocalist and a songwriter. I mean, it's a lot in one package. And Paula Atherton has performed in festivals all over the United States, including the Capitol Jazz Fest, Grand Jazz Fest, Dauphin County Jazz Festival, Potomac Jazz Festival, Brass City, and the Legacy Jazz Festival, as well as in Portugal, France, Spain, and Japan. Paul has also worked in the traditional jazz field, one of the notable performances being a week-long engagement at the Blue Note, New York City. That's a big ticket, with pianist and jazz legend Hank Jones. Paula has performed with Grammy Award-winning singer Dee Dee Bridgewater at the Annenberg Theater and the Palm Springs Women's Jazz Festival. Paula has enjoyed 7 Billboard Top 30 charting singles, including her #1 May 2020 hit, "Can You Feel It?" Paula was also featured on Cindy Bradley's single "Girl Talk," which hit #2 on Billboard. Cindy Bradley, I see her on the panel.
Yay!
In December of 2020, Paula was nominated Artist of the Year in the Smooth Jazz Network. I think it's impressive that it was in December, and just as that happened, 3 months later, boom, there we are, you know? So Paula, thank you so much for agreeing to co-host this with me.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking me. And I'm just glad we have this great group of female artists here today. It's just amazing the amount of talent that we have today. It really is.
Now I'm going to just be a fly on the wall so you can all kind of talk amongst yourselves, because be honest, I don't feel like I'm really in this group. I feel so alien, and I'm just like the person that's privileged to be in the room. No, really, it's true. It's true. But Paula, tell your guests, our guests, what the theme is with regard to women in smooth jazz, and why you chose this group, and why you felt it was really important to bring this group together.
Well, it's Women's History Month, and that's why you asked me to do something, right?
Yes, that's the reason.
I work in this field, and I know the people that are on the panel today, and I just think the women in this field are amazing, and I wanted to invite as many as I could today to be part of it. I just think that they're really interesting, and women don't get enough of a platform. They don't get the same amount of opportunities as men do. So it seemed like a good idea to do that.
Yeah. So maybe you could just introduce each person and tell a little bit about what they do.
Sure. So I'm going to I think I have this in alphabetical order, but I'm going to introduce pianist, singer, songwriter Lisa Adio first. She's a #1 Billboard charting artist whose music is played on Sirius XM channels, Watercolors, and also on Seriously Sinatra. She has played venues ranging from intimate supper clubs to Radio City Music Hall in New York, and all over the US and Europe. And she's also an avid golfer, a qualified boat captain, as well as a lifeguard. So if I'm on a smooth jazz cruise with her, I'm hanging with her. I mean, usually I look for the life preservers first, but it's good.
I got you covered. I got you covered, Paula.
Apparently you do.
Thanks for having me. This is a blast. It's really fun. I mean, I love meeting everybody. And I'm relatively new in the genre. And it's just, I mean, I love my girlfriends and I just love that we're all doing the same thing and we're all reinventing ourselves as we're going along. It's, it's interesting. It's fun. It's challenging. It's just great to connect with all you guys. So it's awesome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, great. I'm so glad you could make it.
Lisa.
Nice to see you. So I'm going to introduce Carol Albert right now. Pianist, singer, composer, Carol Albert. She's Emmy nominated for composing for television. She's got 2 top 5s on Billboard with Femme Flight and Perfect Sunday. And she had a breakout hit in 2017 with her version of Mas Que Nada. Love that song. Nominated in 2019 and 2020 as Artist of the Year by the Smooth Jazz Network.
Woo.
Welcome, Carol.
Hello, thank you for having me, Paula. And I hope that we get
mid-sip?
do what?
Did I catch you mid-sip with your wine?
Oh,
Mid-sip, God forbid.
well, I have to say, Zoom is not my favorite, but I'm so honored to meet all the artists here, and I've met several of you in person, done shows beside Paula and Althea, and of course my girl Reagan. She's performed with me many times, and I'm very, very honored of the talent that's on this panel, because I agree with Paula that women really don't get the accolades or the position they deserve in so many of the festivals, and even on Billboard charting and so many things. And I'm probably older than some of you, and it's been a struggle throughout my life, with pretty good for a girl, statements that women have had to live with, as a musician and performers, entertainers. And so anyway, that's my spiel, but I'm very honored to be here.
Thank you. Great that you're here today. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Cindy Bradley right now. Trumpeter, recording artist, and educator Cindy Bradley. Since being signed to Trippin' and Rhythm record label in 2009, Cindy Bradley has blossomed into a powerful and charismatic presence at radio and on the Contemporary Jazz Festival circuit, with 8 #1 Billboard singles along the way. Cindy has performed everywhere from the Seabreeze Jazz Festival to the Dubai Jazz Festival. She's won Best New Artist at the American Smooth Jazz Awards, Brass Player of the Year, and Best New Artist at the Contemporary Jazz Awards, and was named Debut Artist of the Year by the Catalina Island Jazz Tracks Festival and Smooth Jazz News. Welcome, Cindy Bradley.
Yay.
So awkward. Like when my parents would talk about me to my teachers, like I wasn't there. Like, you're talking about It's so nice to be here. I'm thrilled to be in this Zoom room. All these amazing musicians and incredible role models for women. So thank you for having me.
Yes, that's a really important thing to bring up about the role models. Absolutely. Yep. Trying to keep pushing the bar, trying to be role models for those female artists.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I could just ask one question, as like the outsider. I'm wondering, is that as women, do you feel, because I don't know if a lot of men feel this way, but I know some do. Do you feel a sort of somewhat obliged to be a role model, to be a mentor? Do you feel that your behavior has to be different than theirs? I'm curious about that, only because I've seen some behavior, amongst the men.
Oh, to clarify there. Not from us.
Yeah, well, you never know. I'm just curious. It's just a thought.
Cindy?
I always feel like I have to conduct myself and proudly conduct myself as a role model. But I've been an elementary school teacher for 18 years. So I kind of just, I feel like if you're in any sort of spotlight, whether it's as artists like everybody here, or even just in a classroom with children, I feel like all eyes are on you and people notice. So I've kind of always felt like we're role models, whether we want to be or not. But I think all of us here want to be, and embrace it. But yeah, I would say yes from my perspective.
Yeah, this is a question I had. I was very curious about that, only because of, like I said, I've seen some behavior, amongst, men.
I want to talk about the behavior.
Musicians, not to put them down or anything like that. I think I got Sherry in the room just now.
Yeah, she's trying to get it.
She's
Hi,
in.
I'm in.
Hey, I hear you. You're on
Hey,
audio.
Sherry.
I know I couldn't get in on my iPad. I've tried about 5 or 6 times, so I don't know what's going on. It kept asking me to put in my email, and then when I did, it rejected it. So I'll just talk. I can't see you guys, and you can't see me, which is a total drag, but
Oh,
that's life.
okay. We can hear you, and hopefully they didn't ask you for a blood sample. No, it can get like
only
that.
Only if I've been vaccinated.
Well, welcome. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Sherry. Thank you so much for your
Sure.
patience.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm on Zoom so many times a week, and this has never happened to me, of course, because I want to attend, some kind of weird stuff is going on.
Well, sometimes Zoom hiccups, It happens.
I don't know. This is crazy. But anyway, hello, ladies.
Hello, Sherry.
Hello.
Hey.
So anyway, I'll let Paula continue. We're having like a discussion about women in the music business and some of the things you all go through.
I'd like to introduce Althea Renee next.
Althea.
Althea.
Hi.
So now we're going to meet soul jazz flutist Althea Renee. She was the first flutist in jazz history to have a #1 on the Billboard chart on flute, and it was called In the Flow, right? In the Flow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's an entertainer, author, writer, and producer. She studied classical flute at Howard University, was a Wayne County deputy sheriff in Detroit, Michigan for more than 10 years. Not kidding you, man. In 2018, she wrote a book called Becoming Chocolate Barbie, a guide for professional women in the music business. And Althea's dad was one of the original Funk brothers, Desi McCullers. That's me?
Mm-hmm.
Saying it right? And he was a tenor sax player who recorded for Motown.
He played trumpet when he was at Motown.
Oh, really?
So yeah, there's this short story. I'll keep it short, but he played trumpet, and then he had a really bad car accident, broke his jaw, and was never able to play trumpet again, and just picked up the saxophone and continued with his career. So he's definitely not here. No one ever knew, most people never knew that he didn't play saxophone before.
Wow.
That's amazing.
After the accident?
After the accident, he picked up the saxophone and continued to work and gig and have a career after that. Yeah.
That's
amazing.
impressive.
And so the book that I wrote was really because I had gotten so fed up with how we were being treated. Women were being treated just in every aspect. The first thing they want to say is, do you sing? And if you don't sing, then it's downhill from there. Oh, can you play? Do you have your instrument? Or it's all these other inquiries that would never happen if you were a man. And so I wanted to help navigate women and men to navigate through some of the BS and how you can possible ways to handle different things that come at you. So yeah, don't be afraid to say no. As we know, if you're uncomfortable, say something. Don't just let it go,
Yeah.
But
I
that's
can't
a
wait to
fine
read-
line between not letting it go and then being labeled a B, you know,
Right.
or hard
I was
to
just,
deal
I was
with.
just gonna say that. Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Very fine line.
Yeah.
It's a gray line.
Why can't women ever be strong and assertive? You're always
Exactly.
labeled that, right?
I think the longer you're in the business, the more respect you get, for sure. You know, the more you know what you need from your band members. I mean, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you what I need. There's the difference there.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
asking your opinion
Yeah.
on what I should do, you know.
Like true, and it's saying what it's being the leader, it's being the band leader, and then
Right.
to answer your question, Terry, earlier that we start talking about, I think it's bringing your authenticity, your heart. Men don't bring their heart as easily as we do. So if we can do that while telling our sidemen or whoever what to do, what we need, and how we
Yeah.
want it done, I think that's a kind of a good package. So we have to really, I think, pay attention to how we bring it. But I think
Yeah.
a little bit of that heart, I think that goes a long way.
I agree. Yeah. Anybody else have any stories? And we all have stories. That's why I'm
Yeah.
laughing.
And we all have stories.
This is Sherry. I have a bunch of stories, and I guess some of it starts with my sidemen, because when I first started out, I had a bass player that used to tell me, "Girl, that's not the right chord. You're not playing the right chord, blah, blah, blah." And then I would pull out the music like at home, and I'd look at it, and I'd call a guy. I don't want to call his name because some of you might know him. And I said, "Look, I'm looking at the chart, and I did play the right chord." He said, "Baby, I'm just messing with you, So he knew I was playing the right chord, but he wanted to bust my chops. And then I had another guy I set up. This was sort of my quasi music director. This was early on. Also, we were using his studio to record and do some other stuff. And we were doing a big concert for CD 101. Those of you who are old enough to remember that station, jazz station in New York. So it was a really important engagement. I was playing songs from my first CD. And so this guy decided he wasn't going to show up for the rehearsal. So, after our rehearsal, and I never called rehearsals, I used to say, "Look, just learn the music, listen to the MP3 files, and you'll be fine." But this thing was so important. I said, "We have to rehearse in together. We can't chance this." So when I told him, when I called him up and said, "What happened to you?" He said, "I had something else to do." I said, "What do you mean you had something else to do?" "Well, you're fired from the band." So he said, "You can't fire me." And I said, "Really? Why not? It's my band." He says, "No, I'm showing up at the gig." And this was outdoors for CD 101 down at the time, the not World Trade Center, the South Street Seaport.
Seaport,
So
right.
I said, I said, "You know what? If you show up, I'm going to have a policeman there to throw you literally off the stage."
Whoa.
And I called another guitarist, and he came over my house. He got the music. He told me he was up all night practicing the music, and he killed it. He absolutely killed it. He was so good, and he stayed with my band for like years.
Wow.
So
Wow.
men can definitely mess with you until they realize, look, you're the one paying the check. As long as I'm
Right.
writing the check, I'm in charge, period.
Right.
That's the end of the story.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
interesting.
Wow, I feel very, very fortunate. I have worked with a lot of different musicians and many different iterations of bands, and you know how it goes. It's like it's a rotating kind of thing. And I have been very, very fortunate that every male that I've worked with has been very supportive and maybe not really questioned me too much.
That's
And,
because you're younger.
I also have the mouth of a truck driver. I'm really trying to censor myself right now. But
We already took care of them earlier,
you know,
so they
I'm
know
trying
not
to
to come
be-
at you like that.
I'm trying to be a role model here, But yeah, I have to say, and I don't, I've been very fortunate. That's all I can say. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I just got very lucky. I know probably my next gig, I'm going to run across somebody and I'm going to have to punch in the face. But but I have to, give props where props are due. The people I've worked with have been awesome.
Great, great.
Wow. I wish I could
Well-
say that. Not my story.
Yeah, with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, all the way back to college, because I'm a little country girl from South Louisiana that didn't have any private lessons. And after being a band, my last year I switched from clarinet to saxophone, and I just adored the instrument. I didn't see it as a man's horn. I just did it. And my second year in college, I said, I'm just going to study music. I'm fast forwarding. And a couple of years later, I decided to add flute. But every time I made a decision, I would get such ugly feedback, not only from maybe some of my peers, but also from my saxophone instructors. And to the point where I didn't make the top jazz band. And then one of the musicians in the band said, the reason why you didn't make it because the instructor said he will not have women in the band, no matter how well you play.
Oh my.
Wow.
So, I ran to, I was one of those, I ran to my dorm room, cried. I had this dream. I want to be a saxophone player. I didn't know back then because I'm not only a mother with grown children, but I'm a grandmother too. And back then, women were not favored in the business. Even though I knew that, I still didn't see that I shouldn't dream for it. And so I cried out. Then the next semester, I auditioned for the top wind ensemble that toured, and I didn't make it. And I said, you know what? I know that I played well because with the music we had to play, it was very technical and I nailed it. So I finally sometimes you can be as sweet as can be, then that other part of the bear comes out of you.
Yeah.
And the bear came out and I walked up to the director. I said, I want to challenge the first chair and you have to do it in front of the band. He said, what? I said, I want to challenge the first chair. And we're going to do it in front of the band. And he said, well, let me talk to your saxophone instructor and we'll get back with you. The next thing I knew, I was first chair. And I'm like, y'all bring it because I'm sick of this. I'm really sick of this. I've been dealing with all this stuff for years. And all I want to do is play horn. And I practiced at that time up to 6 hours a day because I didn't have that leisure before. So I had to catch up. I had to practice and I worked hard. And I would just, I was like, and then after I graduated, nobody wanted to hear me play, here I'm a female saxophone player. So I went to corporate America for about 20 years. And then I decided to come back once my children started growing up. And I still had challenges. I've just like, I think it was Sherry, I've had the same thing when I was a guitar player. I'm on my way
Now,
to the casino in Louisiana trying to get a guitar player.
That's
Sherry, I
that's
can't
Joyce
see you.
Spencer. Sherry, that's
Oh, I'm
who?
sorry. This
Joyce
is Joyce
Spencer
Spencer.
speaking because she
Yeah.
can't see you.
I forget. I'm sorry, Sherry.
No, it's all right.
No, but I've had it all. I've had guys do stuff on the stage. You know what? I forgot the song.
What?
I forgot the song. Just things that just have my role. I've had to reinvent. You mentioned earlier by reinventing. I've had to reinvent at least 3 or 4 times in the last 10, 11 years now. Starting over. And right now, after COVID, last year was picking up real good. I just came back from Colorado Springs, did an awesome show there. And then everything started shutting down. Mm-hmm. And I refused to release another track until I was lined up with people that I know. A friend of mine named Max said, Joyce, you're going to have to spend money. I said, but when I walk into a shoe store, I want to see the shoes and I want to walk out with them. I don't mind paying for it. And I said, I will not spend another dime until I know that I know. And just recently, after 3 years, I finally released a single track that I'm working on. And I released a smooth jazz track. and I love it. Got it. You know, and it's amazing. I'm in Dallas. My producer is in Detroit, and artist consultant is in North Carolina, and I'm in Dallas. And people said, "You went outside of Dallas." I said, "I had to do what it's." I tried to work locally, and it just wasn't working for me. It just wasn't working for me. So I had to. I just kept praying because I'm a believer. I said, "Lord, I'm not moving until I know that I know." But you know, rewinding, you know, in college wasn't all bad because I played in the college orchestra on flute. I made some, you know, made some, I thought with some pretty good accomplishments. And I assumed, and that was wrong of me, that once I showed that what I can do, that people would accept me, my hard work. And I said, you know, hard work does not mean you're going to make it unless you are connected with the right people.
What do you mean by that? Does everybody feel that way? That's saying it's who you know, not what you know?
I think definitely. I mean, that's the way it is in any profession, honestly.
Right.
You know, whether it's corporate, music, art, dance, whatever, you know, you have to have, you know, sponsors. And I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about people who will speak well of you to decision makers when you're not in the room.
Amen. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And like Reagan said, in every profession you have that. You even have the haters, you have all of that going on. You know, when you have 2 or 3 people coming at you saying, "Did you do this?" And I said, you know, I didn't even entertain that thought. And it was a lady who used to work for Sony. She had a long talk with me and telling me how this business works and what I need to be careful for. And she said she knew personally that labels would sign people just to put them on the shelf so they wouldn't compete with who that had already invested in.
Wow.
So, but I love what I do.
Well, if you love it, you have to do it. That's it, no matter what.
That's it. And you just keep moving. The next day comes and you just keep moving. And you think at my age I would quit. Well, I did quit for a while, but that season that I wasn't doing music professionally, I had, you know, got married, I had 2 kids and I raised them. So I did something that I think that's great. You know, I wouldn't give up my kids for nothing, but now it's me, and if I die, I'm going to die trying.
I want to speak to that for a second because so many women, I don't know if you can hear me, this is Carol, on the panel, have children, and Reagan has 2 young children. I had children and traveled all over Europe with my children, and Althea has children, and I'm sure many of you do. And you wear so many hats, and sometimes it's, I find that in the business that from my past experience, so many people, business and have the expectation that if you're a female musician, that you're just going to be this single flighty thing with no attachments and la, 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 la. And don't realize that you really have a life, that you're a person, you have a family, and you have children and responsibilities, and you're a professional musician. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, well,
you know, I mean, I had somebody, it was a promoter. No, sorry. It was a booking agent. And he's like, yeah, you know, I want to get you on this, I'm gonna get you on that, blah, 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 blah. And then it was like, hey, I just saw that you're married. Well, is your husband gonna be a problem? No. Well, I just saw that you have a kid. I said, I have 2 kids. Oh no, that's not gonna work. And I said, what does that have to do with you, me, or anything else? You know, I handle my business, and you know, unless you're gonna be sitting on the side changing a diaper, you know, shut up. You know,
I know, right?
So yeah, that's.
And I've been told if I were single, well, Joyce, if you were single, what is it? What a guy told me, you need to be flirty with the guys, because most of the guys people you do business with are men. Well, you need to be flirty. Maybe if you would just, be sweet to them. And he said, I know you're married and you're not like that. Even if I were single, I wouldn't do it. Well, maybe you should sell sex on stage and do that. I said, no, I sell sex, S-A-X,
Right.
not S-E-X. I'm going to get a t-shirt with that on it. So yeah, we get those things that, all the time,
Just women not
Well,
being
listen.
taken seriously,
As women, we really need to really focus. It's not a lot of us in the business. And I would rather focus on enjoying where I am in my age and what we're doing and what we're putting out. Everybody on the panel has several CDs and music and all kinds of accolades under your belt. So now it's just a matter of what are you going to do with that? I mean, I think we're all at the point where we don't have to take crap from people anymore.
Definitely, definitely.
So I'm loving where we are. I want to see more programs for us as women to mentor younger women. And maybe you might see there are also some young women, instrumentalists and musicians that are coming up that we can still have some impact on.
Absolutely.
Well,
we can give them an option. We can give them an option, okay? Because it's their choice to do that. And it's also our choice whether we want to spend money. Trust me, the reason why it keeps happening because somebody's spending money. I remember
absolutely.
A man told me, he said, Joyce, I love jazz. Why isn't jazz this and that? I said, are you spending money? When was the last jazz CD you purchased? And he got quiet.
Yeah.
I said, these kids are spending a lot of money. So
I like to ask a question for you guys. Where do you sit on pressing up CDs or doing USB? Just where is it for you? For me, I don't want to press up any more CDs.
I don't either. It's you have to control your inventory. When we're getting out for shows again, that's the only place you sell them. I'm not getting lots of orders. I'm getting streams and downloads and then you got to freaking and send the inventory out. And Amazon, it's terrible to deal with. I don't know if you guys are experiencing that, but they're just horrible to deal with them. So for me, no, unless I'm going out on the road, I have some on here. But I think it's the time, the money, the space, the mailing, it's a lot. And it's not, I don't think it's profitable enough.
And a lot of course, your computers don't even have a CD player, nor do they have newer cars
either.
So that's the
nor
thing.
do the new cars don't have it either. Anything past 2015 doesn't have a CD player.
So if someone purchases your music, they can't even go right to their car and put it in and hear it.
Nope.
So that's the reason for me personally, I'm not going to press up anymore. I still got a ton of CDs left. I'll sell those, but I don't want to press up anymore.
Exactly. I've got a garage full of them from the first to the last. So
it's funny because at the live shows, if I ever don't bring CDs, I do feel like people are disappointed though. Like they want that piece of you. They want something from you.
A souvenir.
Right, exactly.
Well, that is the only place I'll sell them, but they really like it. So
but I'm saying because of 2020 and people being able to get away from purchasing CDs, and now you're coming back with a whole new, everything is new.
Yeah.
So that's why I wonder, I still got a ton of CDs, so it's not like that's going to just go away. But I'm just saying for a new project, is that something I would want to do, or do a USB where you can put a video, you can put a lot of content on these USB drives, and then you can even put the cover of whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so if they put it in their computer, they can see a concert or, a live performance or introduction or other stuff as well.
Exactly.
Whereas you can't really do that with a CD. So I'm just posing the question and
I've actually looked into USB last year and considered doing that as well. And but I agree with you. Why I have a stack of CDs. The only way people buy CDs for me is when I do live shows.
Yeah.
And like Cindy
Right,
said, they want a
exactly.
souvenir. I see that. Oh,
Right.
let me support you. Well, private shows too, because I was amazed at private shows. They will let me. The host would say, "Hey, you got CDs? They want CDs," and I will sell them. But it's more like a souvenir. Or I want to support you because I
Right.
know you're an independent artist and you guys struggle. So, and I appreciate that. Trust me, because
Wow.
I literally lived for the first 8 months after COVID on just my streaming and publishing. That was it, because I couldn't get any unemployment, and I lived on it, and it's still supplementing. So I'm saying I'm living proof that I'm able to live from the 9 CDs of writing. And as Cindy said, I love the label for what they could do, but I needed to own my masters in order to be able to go in some different directions. So that's why that worked for me. But really, it's about your content and getting it out there. And you're right, Paula. Getting it on these different platforms, and you don't have to have the radio play. It helps, but I never got a lot of radio play on watercolors. Nothing really significant, and I don't miss it. I haven't lost any opportunities because for lack of it. That's what I'm saying.
But I think that the biggest thing is that one thing that I admire about you, Paula, is that you really know how to hustle. And it's like, I even said that to someone, it's like, there are times that I feel like hustling, but it gets exhausting. But I mean, even if you hire a promoter, you have to hustle.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a constant every day kind of make a list. And I think that you do such a great job with that, Paula. I mean, I admire you for that. It gets tiring.
It's survival. It's really just
it's exhausting.
So there are a lot of people that say, "Oh, I got this song for you." No, you don't have anything for me unless I'm co-writing it.
Right.
I don't want your song.
Say louder for the people in the back.
Well, the thing is that there's some people think that it's real cheap to put out. You have so many layers of getting that track ready. None of my saxophones or flute. It didn't cost 99 cents. The recording software, my MIDI keyboard, it didn't cost 99 cents. So
exactly.
I was saying that you maybe be a little more empathetic towards people who are building. I build by layers. I said, okay, now this is what I'm getting now. This is okay. I'm going to develop my studio. So somebody can send me the wave file and I can lay down my horn parts and send it back to them. Now I know how to do that. Now, what's my next layer? My next layer was learn how to do own graphics. The next layer, edit my own videos and keep adding. But it's not going to, well, it didn't happen for me overnight because I had to balance, the financial, because I went full time. And if it weren't for my husband, that's another thing. If it weren't for my husband working his job and sometimes a second job to support it, to support us, I would not be able to do what I'm doing. And so I think right now I'm happy about the direction that I'm going now. I had to reinvent again. And I don't mind that. We talk about our challenges, but I promise you, every challenge, every upset that I've had, I've built more strength and I've gotten more knowledge, and you can't take that away.
Amen.
I would like to say one thing too, going back to what Sherry said with the Grammy and the NARAS, is that I've been very active with the Grammy NARAS advocacy program, and the advocacy is really trying to educate Congress about the outdated laws of actually what you said, getting paid for play instead of, paying for play. And
Right.
so if anyone's interested, I'm not, soliciting that, but that's one thing that I think that as female musicians, we can really impact, is just becoming, not an activist, but just more active in those types of campaigns and education, and also, with mentoring and educating younger students, as a lot of us do. I'm also a teacher, to, the mentoring programs and things like that. So
Where can we get more information about it? Give you our email
Yeah.
address or something?
For NARAS, through the Grammy Association, and I can put it on the chat. I don't have I know that Reagan's a member. Sherry, you might have a contact, but it's a lot of you are probably members, but that's where you can make
Yeah,
the
they're going
voice.
to have to be a member. They're going to have to be a member in order
Yeah.
to participate in any kind of
but
activism through NARAS.
Right, but to join the NARAS program and then to become an active voice, because to complain about things doesn't really help. I mean, you have to actually be
Right.
active and be, as we've seen in, in life, you have to, the voices, you have to become a voice. And the only way you become a voice is to be part of, something like that where you can be heard. And they've also done a lot to try to help, the whole Cardi B thing. I don't get that with, their movements to try to, support women and women in music, but they are having a lot of programs in the NARAS and the Grammy Association with that.
Right.
Anyway, just my 2 cents that, that's one
Okay.
way that we can be, heard and be active and actually affect change.
Right. Can I address one thing? Someone said that they weren't able to get unemployment insurance. Whoever it was, I can't see you, so I'm sorry to ask who you are.
Well, it was
but
me, but I was able to eventually get it. I'm in Texas. And so.
Oh, okay. Who is this speaking?
Althea.
Oh, hi, Althea. Oh, okay.
Hi.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Because
So,
I
yeah,
was
I mean,
about
it took-
to tell you how to do it.
No, I
but
did
you
it.
got
I worked.
okay.
Yeah, I worked it out, but it took time, and everything was just in an array. I mean, we had to just all kind of scramble, and but yeah,
It was horrible.
we
Trying to go
together.
through that process online was horrible. I had to call my business coach and have him talk me through it because I couldn't get through it. It was crazy.
Right, but now
once I got through it, I actually got back paid
right, of course,
for several months, which was excellent. Yeah.
But there are a lot of programs right now for women, minority women, small business. There are all kinds of grants and loans that you don't have to pay back that are out there now. And so for me, the shift, when we talk about what did you do to reinvent yourself? And for me, it was to get outside of the music and then get and work on my infrastructure, of things that are out there to help with your ideas and things like that. Small bit, and we're all in business. If you're an artist, you record it, you're in business, and you can apply for different loans and things like that.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned that as an artist that we're sole proprietor. And I'm just butting in because
Mhm.
that's kind of like one of the signature speeches I make when I'm asked to do public speaking.
Mhm.
And I think that I'm so glad that someone else is on the same page with me on that, because many artists
yes.
don't realize that
know.
they are a
Yeah.
business. And in saying that, I want to just like just taking care of some of the business of this great panel. I want to hear from Reagan. We haven't really talked to you about what you do, and we haven't introduced Sherry or Joyce. So maybe we'll start with Reagan. If you could just tell us a little bit about, what you do as an artist, and what are your plans going forward?
Wow, man, I hate that question. Okay.
That's what I do for a living. That's what I
I'm
do
glad
for a
you're
living, is ask
first.
questions and they're all loaded.
Okay, well, flutist, vocalist, songwriter, entrepreneur, co-label owner. I am currently in a six song top 10 Billboard streak, and
Impressive.
I'm hoping to continue that forever.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm working on my next album, which will hopefully be out this year, but it is very difficult doing it with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old in the
Wow.
house 24/7.
Reagan, I'm
24/7.
sorry I didn't get a chance to introduce you.
No, it's all good. No, it's fine.
Everybody just start talking. So there's
Mhm.
three.
Right.
Actually, I didn't
Yeah.
get to introduce you, Sherry, or Joyce. But you left out the fact that you had a #1 hit with Corey's Bob, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, that was my my first #1, and yeah, I think we were really trying to get to #1 with Jam It. Kept going. It was #2 for like weeks because it came out at the same time as that 480 East song, Cinco Cinco Seis, which was like the bomb song. I love this song, and we just
I like it
just
too.
obliterated us. So it was like, all right, but at least I like the song. So it's like,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, we're looking at adding to our roster for Randis Music, which is the label that my husband and I have been putting my music out under, and so that's like a whole new thing. It's one thing when you're thinking about it for yourself, but thinking about it for somebody else, and then making sure that when you're doing it for yourself, you're not you're more on that dream. You want to get out there, and you're not really paying too much attention to the balance sheet. But when you're doing it for
Balance
somebody
sheet.
else and you're spending money for somebody else, it has to make sense. It has to balance out. It has to make sense. You can't go in the hole for somebody else. So kind of revamping the whole thought process behind releasing music is that's been like a forefront kind of endeavor. So yeah, that's me.
And you're also a radio personality now at WCLK.
Oh yeah, that's
What about that? By the way,
yes, I am on WCLK on Saturdays from 10 to 2. And and that's
good
been
for
fun.
you. Congratulations. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you. Yeah, it's then that's been an education, learning about radio from that side. That's like a whole new thing. It's like, wow, really? And I'm looking at even the way I write music and arrange things. I pay a lot more attention to beginnings and endings now. Just FYI, don't have an intro that's like really long and quiet, because it's not going to jive well with the rest of the songs that are going to be played. So, and if it doesn't jive well, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be pulled out of that rotation, and so it's just going to be harder to get your music into that slot in general. So just, little tidbit, pay attention to your intros, keep them short and sweet.
Good point.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should do another session on just writing songs, Paula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much talent. There's so much going on with all the women on this panel. You know, we could do like a whole series. It's hard to just talk for an hour and get everything out. It's just
Well, this series is definitely a series I'm doing. This is the jazz, women in jazz part of it. Is often I've done them with women in ancient historical culture. I did a panel like that, a little more dry than this, but they liked the wine. They drank the wine. They did.
Yeah.
They had a good time. Joyce, I don't think I've heard what your introduction is. And
no. I didn't introduce Joyce or Sherry Winston. I didn't get a chance to.
So you can do that now. So talk to Joyce. Tell us something about yourself.
I think I gave a little information. I graduated in instrumental music education with principal instruments, saxophone, and then flute. I played in jazz bands, concert bands, orchestra. I played in the Acadiana Symphony Orchestra in Louisiana before I moved to Texas. And then I was dormant for about 20 years. And I came back playing in churches. And I released my first CD in 2010. And I just did it. And I'm the type of person who will jump in 6 feet of water because I want to do it. And you can't do that. Well, I will. Even when I wanted to add flute and well, you can't play both instruments. Watch me. Even though I was busy for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I still did it. And but I did put the guitar down because it was ruining my fingers. I said, no, I think I'm going to leave the guitar alone. But and when I came back, got a band, started playing locally, started releasing music. I won some awards and I can't remember what they are. One was locally NAACP award for my contribution to music in the community in the Garland area. And I can't remember the others. Oh, yeah. Reagan knows about this. Saxophonist of the Year, Black Women in Jazz and Fine Arts. One was a gospel award. And this is just on my own effort, no help, wearing all the hats, begging radio stations and just trying to make it. And I failed several times. I'm just going to be honest. I failed. And I said, okay, this didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do. So I just kept moving. And I think now, one thing that COVID did for me, shutting down everything, because I thought 2020, this is my year, I'm starting to gain some momentum. It gave me a chance to meet more people because I've been a co-host on the GHP radio, the Indie Live spot that streams every Saturday from 2 to 4 o'clock, where we feature independent artists. So I had a chance to meet a lot of people, have some good dialogue. And since I've had some experience, the experience that I have, I ask a lot of questions. And that has helped me a lot because now I've met people that earlier we talked about the right connection. You can have all the talent in the world, and I've even spent money to people to help me, and I got ripped off. And one of the guys, he's in prison right now because he just didn't rip me off. So you go and so I tried to warn him. I just sounded like a whining female. I tried to warn him. I said, this is not the person you want to work with. And he ends up ripping somebody off for $100,000.
Whoa.
A lot more than what
That's wow. He can stay in jail.
And that's the hardest thing for me because I want to warn people. And this wasn't hearsay. This was based, it wasn't gossip. It was based on my experience. And I did not want to see somebody else get ripped off. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by, I say all that to say making mistakes, but I'm a lot stronger now. And I know what questions to ask. Every time I get approached, I know what questions to ask. Well, we can do this for you. Okay, let me tell you what I need. That's what I learned to do. This is what I need. Well, we can get you more followers. I said, I don't need that. This is what I need. And then lining up with people, like I said, even though they're not in Texas, it's okay with me because of the way the technology is now. I built my own studio. When I did my second jazz CD, full CD, I went through so much trouble, and that's what motivated me to start learning how to record your own music. And, you know, I don't play keyboards. You see it in the background. I don't play. They're MIDI. They help me with a lot of things. And even because, and the thing that I know that I struggled with is to stay smooth jazz. So now I think my husband finally said, stay smooth jazz. But baby, I love the R&B and funk like nobody's business. So I'm going to try to right now stay smooth jazz, but I love the funk. So I just released smooth jazz just a couple of weeks ago. It's on Pandora, and I'm
You should do what you want to do. You could always do something that's geared towards radio for smooth jazz if you wanted to.
Right.
But I'm an advocate for doing what you want to do. Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing. I decided just to calm down and do something that my husband calls something more commercial smooth jazz. And then, so what I did is I released that one, and then I have one that with a different producer that's funk, like
do what you love.
with background vocals, and but it's not going to go on my smooth jazz CD if we ever print any more CDs. I don't right now. It's interesting you brought that up because I'm releasing one single at a time. And in the interim, I'm trying to decide, what am I going to do? So reinventing is just part of life right now, I think. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy the music festivals. I enjoy playing. I love playing the band, also solo gigs, but what do you do about that part? And I just one day at a time, I'm just waiting and watching, because it's almost, the digital age has still left us to some degree in uncharted territory. That's it. That's me.
Thanks. That's you gave a lot of food for thought. You gave a lot of food for thought.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I just have to say, I'm so honored to be here in the presence of such amazing women. Cindy was so funny. I'm like, oh, I know you, Cindy. No, you don't know me. You don't know me. She's like, have we met? And I said, no, you don't know me. I know you from radio. That's how I know you.
It's like,
and I knew Paula before she came on our GHP radio, and of course Reagan and Althea. And I'm happy to meet Carol. I think I've heard of you, and I'm trying to remember where.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. So I'm enjoying meeting Sherry, Lisa, and Carol. I love interacting because I need to learn, you guys. I'm forever a student.
Lifelong.
We should have some kind of Facebook page. I'm sure there probably is, and I'm just not a part of it. But while I'm making all these suggestions, but if there's a group that you guys are on, I would love to join it. And
yes,
right. You guys can start I will be starting a Facebook page for WAHNZ, but I want to hear something from Sherry, because Sherry, she had a little bit of a cumbersome time getting on here, so we must listen to hear about what Sherry does.
Well, Paula, since I sent you a nice little introduction, you wanted to keep it short and sweet. Why don't you introduce me?
Absolutely, and I
if
would
you have it in front of you.
You know the way things go in these sometimes. So Sherry Winston is a jazz flutist, composer, and author. She's performed at the White House with notables Stevie Wonder, Kirk Whalum, Steve Harvey, Shaka Khan, and many others. She's recorded 6 CDs, 3 singles, and a best-selling romantic cookbook for lovers only, which comes with her romantic CD. And you can visit her at sherrywinston.com.
Wow.
Nice.
Thank you.
I want to see you, Sherry. I want to see you. Come on.
Now, next time, I'm glad we could hear her, because Sherry really, she went to the nth degree to get on this panel. I don't know what it was. It's like a little Zoom kind of glitch, but I'm glad you got it, Sherry. And
well, you know what, Paula, maybe you can put a group together, find out if someone has a Zoom account, and we can get together again. I think that would be wonderful, because I've never had problems getting on Zoom ever. I don't know what this was all about, but I would love to see everybody and continue this conversation. And I don't know if you want me to add anything else, Paula, to what you said.
Well, there was other things in your bio that I thought were really interesting. I know before you were talking about working for record labels. You were director of jazz promotion at Columbia, Arista, GRP, and Electro.
Wow.
That's
Right. And
awesome.
I also did independent promotion. So I was on the business side of the industry for many years. And a problem that you guys probably haven't had, when I was trying to make my first CD, no one would take me seriously because
Mhm.
they knew me as a record executive. I worked directly with Clive Davis and some of the
Oh,
other
awesome.
really biggies, and
Yeah.
worked with over 30 artists when I was at Columbia, including some of the biggest names. So regardless of what I did, I mean, I played Carnegie Hall 3 times with Hubert Laws. And for
Oh,
those of you
nice.
who know Hubert Laws' music,
Yes.
when Hubert plays and takes a solo and then he turns around and points to you, I likened it to playing after World War II. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was like, what the heck could anybody say after Hubert Laws takes a solo? I mean, let me play first, Don't make me play after you. This is crazy. So, I've had like a lot of different experiences, and I guess my time in the record industry really helped me with, how I've been conducting my own business. I've never had an agent, a manager, any of that stuff. I've been able to keep more of my money as a entrepreneur and also pay my band. I consider very well compared to a lot of other people. So it's been a real hard situation though, doing everything myself and also being on the phone all day long. I take it as a serious corporate gig. And what I've tried to do all of these years, I actually got fired from Columbia Records because I had the nerve to put out a CD while I was working for them. So they actually threw me out of the building. They had a policeman come to my office and throw me out of the building. And I knew it was coming, so I took all of my Rolodexes home so I'd be able to conduct my own business, once I knew I was going to get fired. So that was like a little traumatic because I had just bought a house when that happened. So it was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? And, all of these years later, the answer is yes. And what I figured out is if I conducted myself like I was going into the office at Columbia Records and do that in my own house, in my home office, and conduct myself with regular business hours, staying on the phone most of the day, doing email campaigns, putting a big database together of people all over the country that are fans, doing shows, doing everything myself, that it really works out. And I think the biggest thing with me, if there's, I guess, Joyce, you said you need some help. The biggest thing is being disciplined. You should be at your desk every day, just like you were going to a regular job. So,
and that is so hard.
I am.
Well,
sometimes
you know
all
what?
night.
No, there's something to be said for that. I've heard a lot of people conducted their business that way, and it works for me. I put my smock on when I start going to the studio in the morning, because I'm an artist. And when my smock's on, I think Sherry's right about that. I find myself so much more productive because I'm dressed for work, like the kind of work that I do. So I
right. Is that Tony? Is that Tony speaking?
Yes, it is Tony. Yes, it is me.
Okay.
It is I. But thank you for that comment. That was, men do that. I know men that are working for themselves. They'll actually put on a suit and tie, and they're in their house where nobody. And this is before COVID, just because it makes them more productive. It makes them behave differently when they pick up a call, and I can attest.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right.
And the other
that's
thing,
great advice.
The other thing for me is I get up in the morning. I used to go to the gym every day, like 5 days a week. So I'm doing Zoom yoga now, and then I always get out in the afternoon and walk. So I'm trying to not put on any weight. I'm very conscious about what I look like on stage. You know, I do like every sport in the book, including scuba diving, downhill ski racing, and all kinds of stuff. So I
Wow.
think it's important for us as artists to remain active, to exercise. I think it gets your endorphins going. And
Yes.
it also clears your head. If you're out, like during the weekends, I go to the lake, you know, as it warms up here in Connecticut, go to the lake, I ride my bike, I swim in the lake. And it really cleans out the cobwebs. And, you know, there's so much negativity in our business of getting rejections, you know, getting gigs that you don't get and stuff like that. I find that when I commune with nature, that it really helps me get a balance in my life. And I think that's important for us as artists and as women.
Absolutely. It's really good for your health too to be close to nature.
Yes.
Oh,
Walking
yeah.
on a
Oh, yeah.
treadmill and walking outside, it's totally different.
Yeah, walking
I have a
outside is
treadmill.
definitely different.
Outside, I love it. You know, that's my
Yeah.
favorite exercise.
My favorite
Yeah.
spot. You know?
Well, I've lost 14 pounds since going vegan / vegetarian.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Right before Thanksgiving, I stopped
Oh
eating
my
meat.
God.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
great.
I
you.
told my
Wow,
husband I have to lose some
congratulations.
COVID weight because all those dresses I can't wear.
No,
I
No,
start
that
over.
COVID plump.
Quarantine 15.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny. I find that I know musicians who are men who are real big and fat, and they're doing their thing, and they're, you know, that's what I see as an enthusiast. Men can be overweight and bald and toothless. I'm just saying.
Look, don't get us started. Everybody's just staring like, well, don't get me started.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, you know.
No, I've gained weight during the quarantine, but the problem was, you know, was at my mom's funeral last year, and I have a lot, you know, everybody has a lot of black dresses, and I could only find one that fit.
Oh,
Well, don't be hard on yourself. It was really difficult. I mean, it was really difficult. Yeah.
It was
yeah,
terrible.
they say the average weight gain was 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And
Average
Wow.
weight gain is 30 pounds.
That's why I wear yoga pants every day, because you know, everything's tight. And I told my husband he either have to get serious about losing weight or I have to start with a whole new wardrobe. And because I'm looking at all these dresses, and I mean, I'd rather lose the weight. I don't know. I like what Sherry said.
Yeah, just little by
Yes,
little,
I
doing
walk.
little stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love to walk, but you know, challenges. You're right, Althea, because after my mom died of COVID, two more family members died of COVID.
Oh God.
And
my
it was-
God.
then I started having chest
God.
pain, and I couldn't even play my horn for
Yeah.
months because I
Oh
was
my
having
God.
chest
Wow.
pain. So it was just so I would try to exercise, and something would
Yeah.
happen. And after, because I would, you know, it's been a tough year. So I just like, okay, what do I do now? But this room right here, this is my room where I do everything, write, compose, or whatever I want to do. I created a space for me, and literally I can stay here all night, and I've done that.
I bet you have. So Tony, we've maybe we should wrap soon because we've gone way over time, right?
It's okay. Well, it's
Yeah.
all right. You know, I left it pretty open-ended because I really didn't know how
Okay.
the conversation would flow. And I
Okay.
have to say, ladies, it's been really a really great experience for me. I can hardly wait to see Jim's final edit on this one. So we'll have to do this again. I do these groups, but I think I encourage you to do it amongst yourselves. The best thing that comes out of this particular WAHNZ panel for me is that every single time I find there are people in the room that sort of connect with each other, and then they move forward and they do something else. And if you guys find success within each other because you're all musicians and you're all women, and you can figure out a way to continue this platform, you know, perhaps with Paula's leadership, then this was very successful. And I'll just say that it was. And I thank you so much for engaging in this WAHNZ, you know, Zoom platform for networking. I think I've seen that everybody's left their email address and contact info in the chat.
Everybody should also put their website or
Website, yes, website
Okay.
and email address. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for everybody
Bye-bye.
for coming to this Zoom network. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.